Does that sound playful? Of course not. It's another task that we put on the to-do list. It's another thing we have to tackle. Check the box, check the box, check the box. If you live a life where you are constantly checking boxes, you may just miss the moment altogether. You're going to miss the life. Hey, listener, welcome to episode number 77 of Listen Up. This week, I had a conversation with one of my one-on-one coaching clients that I just had to share with you here on the podcast. I want you to notice what happened in our session and really think about whether this is the kind of thing that you do in your life that could be preventing you from enjoying your progress and even finding sparks of bliss. This is one of the ways that high achieving individuals sabotage their joy by doing this thing that we uncovered in our coaching session this week. So I'm going to just jump into it and you tell me if you can identify with this. Okay. So we were talking about nurturing this client of mine's theme for October. If you've been here a while, then you know that I'm a stickler for living with intention. And one of the things that I do to live with intention is I name each month. I set a theme for each month. And I do this with my clients. I do this here on the podcast. I do it for myself. And the purpose of this is to take the time to pause, reflect on what's going on in the month and how you want to proceed to the next month. It allows you to decide the energy you're going to show up in the month with, the identity you are trying to adopt, and then it invites you to take action on that identity, on that theme, on that intentions that you have for the month. So it's a very supportive practice. And one of the things that I do is that I name the theme for the collective and for myself based on what I am seeing is the collective energy and what I myself am feeling. But I also invite you to pay attention to your unique circumstances, to the season you are in your life, to the things that are happening to you specifically so that you can tailor your themes and your intentions appropriately to yourself, right? And if it coincides with mine, great. But if it doesn't, that's okay too, because the purpose is for all of us to live with intention, not to follow a specific rule or formula. It's really rather about embracing the rhythm of this life. So the theme that I chose for October is Orderly October, but my client did not choose that theme. She chose a different theme. Why? Because she's already very orderly. She's actually very organized. She's a planner. She has that type A personality. She has a lot of systems. She thrives on order. And what she had noticed coming into October is that she had become too orderly to the point that she has also become rigid. And as a result of that rigidity, she has started to enjoy life a little less. So this October, she noticed that what she was really looking for was to have more fun, to experience more joy, to be a little bit more relaxed, to be more present with her family, to worry less about planning and focus a little bit more on the moment that she was experiencing right now. So for her, the theme she chose for October was Playful October. She wanted to embrace a more playful attitude. So on this session, we're talking about the things going on, the things that she wanted to process. We were doing some coaching, and then we got to the part of checking in on the theme of the month. And I said, well, how are you nurturing your playful October? And the first words out of her mouth were, oh, Yeah, that's not going so well. I really need to be more playful. I need to do that better. I've got the orderly thing down pat, but I just need to be more playful. So then I said, okay, well, tell me more. Tell me more about that. Well, I've been trying to be more playful in this way and that way. And she starts to tell me all these things that she was doing. And then she says, but, with all the routines of daily living and all of the stuff I have to get done and all of the schedules and all that stuff, I just wish I had more time every single day to be playful. But as she started to tell me all of the things that she had been doing, I caught it. I noticed what was happening. She is a classic high achiever, overachiever. She is probably just like you. She has been participating in being more playful, but has adopted the identity that it's all or nothing. That she's either having fun at every minute of the day or she's failing miserably at being playful. This is the gap. Sometimes when we are trying to adopt a new identity or we're trying to nurture a theme or where we decide we want to be a little bit more of something else, we think that we have to assume that entire identity as if nothing else in our life is valuable. And I said, wait a second. So you mean to tell me that you had enjoyed this moment with your family and you did this with your family and you went on this trip with your family and you embraced playfulness in this way with yourself and your family, but you need to do better? And as I started to delineate all of the things that she had done for the month, in just a few weeks, a couple weeks, we're like still in midway through the month, she said, oh my God, you're right. I have been more playful. I just haven't given myself any credit. And then she said, I just felt like I was supposed to feel that way all the time. And here's the thing. We have this misconception that to be something, we have to be that thing all the time. If you want to be happy, you have to be happy all the time. So then if you're not happy, you need to take medication because you need to be happy all the time. If you want to be more playful, you have to be playful all the time. If you want to be more organized, you have to be incredibly organized all of the time. If you be more productive or have better time management skills, you have to have better time management skills all the time. We embrace this all mentality, and we're just never quite good enough. We never quite make it. That is when we start using personal growth and personal development and things like living with intention against ourselves. Rather than to support our life, we use it to highlight our weaknesses, highlight our failures, highlight our inefficiencies or our inadequacies. And then we fall into the trap of, I need to do better. That word, need. I need to be more playful. When I pointed it out to her, I said, can you imagine how does that sound? Oh, I need to be more playful. Does that sound playful? Of course not. It's another task that we put on the to-do list. It's another thing we have to tackle. Check the box, check the box, check the box. If you live a life where you are constantly checking boxes, you may just miss the moment altogether. You're going to miss the life. So when I caught that and I noticed it and I brought it to her attention, it was like her life just sparkled in front of her. She said, wait a second, you're right. I have been doing really great. I have been more joyful and more playful and more spontaneous and more present with my family ever since I started to do this work. I'm having more fun. We're getting along better. We're laughing more. We are enjoying our time together more. And yet I still was falling into the trap of feeling like it wasn't enough. That is why we success file. That is why we give ourselves permission to not have to be perfect, but focus rather on progress. My husband sent me the other day a quote thing on Instagram. We have this thing. I don't know if you've heard this, but there's a thing that penguins, when they give each other gifts, they bring pebbles to each other as a way of saying I'm thinking of you or I love you. You know, they gift each other pebbles. And we saw this thing on Instagram that when you send your spouse or your friends or your family videos and memes on Instagram, it's like you're giving them little pebbles like a penguin, like, hey, I'm thinking of you, I love you, I'm noticing you, I remember you, I miss you, whatever it is. So my husband sends me things all the time. And he sent me yesterday or the day before one of these videos, and it said there are people who are always setting the bar a little higher for themselves. They're always working to achieve the next goal. And as soon as they achieve it, they move the goalpost and they go higher. And then they never seem quite satisfied with what they are achieving because the goal never stops, right? And there is value to this. This is what makes you a high achiever. This is what makes you productive. This is what makes you get more and more and more in your life. And there is the truth that if you're not growing and achieving bigger heights, then you start getting comfortable. And when you stop growing, you start dying, you start deteriorating, right? A comfort is the enemy of progress because once you start chasing comfort, it's over, right? So there is value to this wanting to set the bar higher, wanting to grow, wanting to achieve more. But the danger of it is when you don't stop to notice and reflect how far you've come. So in that Instagram reel, it said, part of enjoying your life is noticing the progress is not what you're aiming towards, but where you just came from. And there's this balance, there's this delicate balance of being able to sit in the enjoyment of what you have achieved and in the pursuit of what you want to achieve. That is where you get to do both. That is where you get to dance with progress. You get to enjoy the journey as opposed to sabotaging your joy and sabotaging the moment for this limiting belief that you have to do it perfectly. You have to do it to an extreme. So as I was talking to this client of mine, I was explaining to her that when you look back at your life, what you remember are moments. You don't remember the long days. You don't remember every minute of the day. You remember moments, sparks. And if you notice in your life, like if you're thinking about your childhood, have you ever heard somebody say like, oh, when we were kids, we used to do this, we used to play with forts, build forts in our home and hide in the forts and then roast marshmallows by the lake. And you hear people talk nostalgically about things from their youth. But if you were to look at their life and how many times they actually roasted that marshmallow or how many times they actually built that fort, or how many times they cuddled with their mom to read that book, it may have not been that many. Maybe it was a few times. Maybe it was for a month or for a year or for a week or for a day, but it became a core memory. That moment became one of the core foundational memories that build the collection, the romanticism of your story. It wasn't every day, though. It wasn't at every moment you were roasting marshmallows when you were in the summer of, 79 or 92. There's moments. Nurturing your theme is about taking time to create those moments. Moments where you feel a deep sense of order. Moments where you feel spontaneity. Moments when you're playful. Moments where you're productive. It's all about the moments. Now, if you are looking to adopt an identity that is so foreign to you that you must embrace more of an all or nothing mentality because you are looking for mastery in that identity, that's a little bit of a different nuance. That's what happened to me with eating healthy, for example. When I was learning about eating healthy, I was so far removed from eating healthy. I had such little knowledge about what it meant. And I really wanted to become the kind of person that just thought like a healthy person. It was like learning a new language. In that sense, I had to throw myself in to adopt a certain level of mastery for that intention. So then I allowed it to consume all my energy. I allowed myself to go all in adopting this identity because the other identity was not serving me. There was nothing about eating unhealthy that was serving this identity. And I didn't have enough knowledge of what being healthy meant to be able to incorporate it casually into my lifestyle. But when it came to my client, being orderly serves her. Being organized serves her. Planning ahead serves her. She doesn't want to throw that identity away. She just wants to nurture a little more playfulness, a little more joy. She doesn't have to abandon that other part of her identity. She wants to balance it. So are you looking in your life to abandon an identity altogether because there's addiction or because it's an unhealthy part of your life or because it no longer serves you and you have to jump into a new identity and that requires mastery and it requires going all in and really adopting this as who you are? Or are there so many things in your life that are already working? And this nurturing these intentions on a monthly basis or on a yearly basis or on a weekly basis, however it is that you do it, are just creating more alignment, more balance, more of a holistic lifestyle so that you can adopt many parts of your identity so that you can enjoy different aspects of your life so that you don't become so much of one thing that you lose sight of everything else. That's what I want you to think about. So now I ask you to look at your life. Are you a super high achiever that is always raising the bar, that is always looking to grow, that is always wanting to do better, and yet always feels like you need to be doing better? I invite you to think about this. Have you started success filing? Have you ever taken the time to stop and look at where you came from? How much have you expanded your capacity? How much more have you done in your life than you give yourself credit for? How many moments have you enjoyed that you may overlook because you're constantly feeling like you're not good enough? Savor those moments. Enjoy the rewards of your work. Focus on your progress. Give yourself a pat on the back. It doesn't mean you're not going to grow anymore. It is not the same thing as being comfortable. It's just dancing between progress and ambition. Don't lose sight of either. They both matter. So that's all I've got for you today on this beautiful sacred Sunday. May you continue to live with intention and nurture in that fine line the dance between progress and ambition, never losing sight of the magic, of the joy, and of the sparks of bliss that come from living in alignment. I will see you next week. That's it for today's episode. Thanks so much for being here. I am deeply, deeply grateful for this time to connect. If you're loving this podcast, I'd love if you could support me by subscribing, rating, and/or leaving a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Those reviews help us so much. And if you know of someone who could really use a voice like mine in their head, please share this with them and let them know how much you care about their bliss. Now, if you are feeling called to dig deeper and really work on elevating your mindset, wellness, and your relationships to create a healthier, happier, and more meaningful life, then I invite you to schedule a 60-minute complimentary consultation with me. Let's have a meaningful conversation and see if working together is in our future. You can find the link to the calendar of consults right there in my show notes, but you can also connect with me on my website, carolinedeposada.com, or just send me a DM on Instagram at Caroline de Posada. Like my friend always says, the project is big and you're a part of it. So thanks for being here.